Business Radio.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the National Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Community Relations at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand marketing and digital agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview some of the top business leaders in the industry and in the arts. So Ray, during this time, it's just always so crazy for all of us. And I've been watching a lot of movies. I'm all about the musical, Sound of Music, but I've taken a step back to say, what's happening on Netflix and also a lot of these indie channels. But I'm really excited about what's happening in the film industry and how all the creatives are coming together to kind of push out more content. And I know that's exactly where you live for your love of movies and the arts.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, and we need it now more than ever. We need the people to keep our spirits up. And so films, radio, all the creative stuff, books, it's all much needed. And that's why I'm really excited about our guest today, because she can take us there. She can take us into the film world. Helping provide us with business empowerment today is Katha. Cato. She is the executive director and the board president for the Queens World Film Festival. Katha, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. It's so inspiring to be here.
Well, we're very excited because, the experiences that you've had in this world, as DB said, this is definitely a sandbox I like to play in. And I know a lot of us, right now are really dependent upon some of the TV shows we love and the movies we love to help lift our spirits. So tell us a little about yourself and how you got into this world.
Well, it's a circuitous route. I was born in Yuma, Arizona, to a very agriculture family, and we rode horses. My dad was a cowboy, and he hated being called a cowboy, but he was. He made a brand for me. I have it in the other room. My mom's great dream was to ride in the Olympics, and she had kids, and so that was kind of put short at that time. So I grew up in a very small town, and my parents really nurtured the artist in me, and I went to my high school graduation, and then that summer I went to San Diego to a program, and then I went to Los Angeles. And then I just kept going. I always wanted to come to New York because the only two shows I watched when I was a kid, because we didn't have like regular TV programming at that time, in a different century, was Lucille Ball and the Cramdens, and they both lived in New York. And they had the craziest friends, and they went to nightclubs, and they did stuff. And so I went there. My life's been it's New York is a long way away from where I was raised, but along the way, I just decided, the arts, this, you don't decide to be an artist. The arts decide for you.
So now, you didn't start out initially in film, correct?
No, I didn't. I started out in the increasingly lucrative world of improvisational theater, where the big bucks are, where they pay you a great amount of money just to make things up. But what a training that was. How incredible that was to be present, and to engage the world in the process. Because the audience is not passive in an improv experience. And then I got married to an incredible human being, and his children came to live with us quite quickly, and so I needed to go out and get a job. So I started working for the Rockefellers and their employee activities, which is perfect for me. And then I went to Henry Street Settlement, and I was very, very lucky to land there. I worked in their theater. I started teaching. I had a 5-year-old improv group. We did Mommy and Me. We got to encourage young people in the community to create. And I eventually became arts and education coordinator, and then the director of after-school camps and after-school services, 6 after-school sites and 3 camps. And that is a production every single day.
Wow. Now that I mean that in itself is a handful. I mean, you coming from, the movie capital of the world to on the West Coast to now the movie
Yep.
capital of the world on the East Coast, and just delving into the creative arts, but inspiring minds for people at such a young age. I'm really intrigued by you, and also your improv background, because I mean people always see improv on SNL, but it's just so much more. And right now it's being really heavy hit, especially with a lot of the studios or the programs closing down. So thank you for sharing with us, and really making sure that people remember that all it takes is an object and a creative mind to bring art to life.
Well, it's called the art of living. Every day is a creative process. And, it's so odd. In our society, the only beings that are allowed to create are gods. And that's why it's such a heavy lift. It's very godlike to make something exist where it does not. Then get everybody to come and deal with it, engage with it. So I had to convince the University of Oregon to give me a master's in improvisational performance. It took a lot of talking to them, but what I convinced them is that improvisation is not just a great performance skill, and it's fun and it's wonderful. It's the art of living. You're hungry, you open up the refrigerator, you improvise a meal on what's there. You don't get to decide, I'd really rather have something else, so I'm just going to You live with what you have, and so remaining constantly present. My slogan about improv is you make the best decision possible based on the available materials, one after the other. You can't say, I'm going to go do a good movie. You're going to make a good this. You just have to make a series of the best decisions you can, one after the other.
It's funny. I've been reading a lot of the Stoic philosophy lately, and it's interesting that fits right in with the idea that you do the best with what you have in front of you. You do the best with where you are right now. So yeah, it's very interesting. Now, take us from this spontaneous world. Now, how did you transition over into a scripted world like film?
Well, my husband's really the filmmaker, and he doesn't like it when I say that, and I'm sure you can see that it has little to no effect on me. But he is the talented one, and I am the noisy one. And through the years, I have picked up enough from him that I can make sure that everything he needs is in the room. And I can think deeper into the process than I could when we first began. So at 3 o'clock, we're going to be working with an organization that is training their staff in how to pre-record 20 and 40-minute lessons. And so we have a 12-page agenda, poor darlings. Their heads are going to explode. But it's a pre-production. And I was looking at it. I've learned a lot by moving that apple crate, asking what's next, what do you need, 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 why'd you do that, what is that, I can't edit, I don't know how to turn a camera on, but I know how to get everything in the frame that everybody who's responsible for the frame told me they needed. And I can also make sure that they know that that thing is a little bit bigger than you thought, and we have 2 less people than you thought, and this is the hat, it's not the one you wanted. But it's gonna be great.
And it takes visionary and a leader, and I think every team needs that person that's outside of being the creative juice,
Yeah.
say we're going to help move this machine forward, right?
Yeah, you know, there's sometimes you can't really discipline your own baby.
Mhm.
And with art, maybe you don't need to. You know, maybe you don't need to. Um, the other day, someone was saying, "Well, when do you know something is ready to be seen?" Well, you don't. You never do. But you said 8 o'clock Friday, so it's 8 o'clock Friday. So we're gonna see what we got here. And if they don't laugh, where you swore it was funny, it's not funny. It's not funny. So
Right.
you either have to come up with a really good in-depth line of, you know, malarkey to make that work, or you fix it. And sometimes, you know, the filmmaker is in the back of the theater and just a mess because it's not funny.
Yeah, well, even George Lucas, how many times has he tinkered with Star Wars? You know, it's like you're never really finished.
My husband right now is in the other room working on a film that he shot in 1986. He's turned it into a black and white. It was in color. And he took the entire soundtrack out. And let's see if we can just show you some of the, I hope I don't knock anything off, but that's all the little, I can't even show you. See that over there in the corner? That's all the little pieces of film that he's going to reassemble.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. But he has no choice.
You are listening to Tara Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, and our guest today is Katha Cato, Executive Director and Board President, Queens World Film Festival. So tell us a little bit about your film work, about your experiences in film. I'm sure there's a lot of kind of crazy stories.
Yes. We've been really fortunate to continue making pieces while we've got the film festival going on. My husband has completed 3 or 4 pieces of substantive length, and then easily 150 to 200 short films with kids. And to all my actor friends, just relax. But working with children and working with actors is not that different. It's just not. You know, they're all, the minute they walk on set, they all are very insecure. I'm not tall enough, I'm not dark enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not good enough, and she's better, and why is this, and I didn't, and it's a lot. It's a lot to have all of that going on. The piece that my husband just finished a while ago, about a year ago, is called Common Ground, a Survivor Story. And he and the CAPE program at Common Point, Queens, interviewed the cohort of the aging Holocaust survivors that live right next door often to the cohort of the aging survivors of the Sino-Japanese occupation and war. And they don't know each other, but they distrusted each other because they don't know each other. And we interviewed them as groups, then individuals, and then we took them to the Holocaust Museum, and then we also had out tables of artifacts that the Chinese elders had brought with them. And then we showed their footage. What they experienced is almost frame by frame exactly the same. And
wow.
Unbelievable. And so bringing these families together and having them like look at each other and talk to each other. So then it's quite moving, and I really am proud of us on that. So then about 9 months later, we screen it. Can't remember where we screened it. And so afterwards, they have everybody come up on stage, and this woman comes up on stage that we've never seen before. And she comes and sits dead center, this long panel. And everybody's introducing themselves, and we get to her, and I'm like really interested, like, what are you going to say? And she said, I am a survivor. I have never told my story before. And now I feel I can tell my story. And she told her story. truncated about the concentration camps. And you see right then the power of the moving image to transform you away from who she had carefully built into being. And then seeing and experiencing in a safe way, in distance, with popcorn in a nice chair with your friends, experiencing this in such a way that you can safely come out and be then part of community is transformative for the entire room. For the entire room. So I don't know if Hollywood has that experience, but indie filmmakers have that experience on the daily, because indie film is so personal, and an indie filmmaker tells their own story over and over and over and over and over and over again, because it's accessible to them. So in the indie world, I find it to be raw. And like at our festival, a family, a parent, almost every year, a parent comes up to me and says, you're screening my daughter's film, you're screening my son's film. Yeah, we really like it. Is she any good? Look around. She's in a festival, there's people there. So today, she's good. And it's just transformative, I think. Did I answer the question that you asked, or?
I think so, and it leads us into so your work in festivals. I mean, is that why you got into festival work? Is it because you recognized how these individual voices needed to be heard and how it would help people transform? Is that what brought you into that?
I didn't know that at the beginning.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this as short as possible. There was another festival in Queens. It did not honor its responsibilities to elected officials, venues, and filmmakers. When it had been doing that, we won a nice thing there. We're both from very small towns, so when we're honored, we then volunteer. So we started their youth program. The last year, it became quite evident that there were major issues. The entire thing came to a fiery, bloodbathy, horrendous end. And when the dust settled, myself, my husband, and 2 other people said, if a person who is not dedicated to the voice can run a festival for 7 years, think what could happen if you were invested in that. So the first year we did it because we wanted to kind of make it right. Did pretty well. Second year, we said, all right, let's keep it going. Third year, then things got complicated around here. I got a pretty bad diagnosis, and it kept me going. Each year, I would envision those people walking in and seeing work they would never see if they had stayed at home. And then here we are 11 years later. We were the first festival to go online, March 19th. Closed on the 16th, live on the 19th. Do not doubt it. 32 nations, 191 films, 11 days. It about killed us. It really did. But what I miss about the festival the most is the humans coming together just to experience something.
Yeah, there is something very communal about the movie-going experience. I'm a avid moviegoer. I love film, and that's definitely something that it's very hard. You can't replicate that anywhere else.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody's got a lot of bells and whistles on their festivals now, and they're giving it a good try. They're giving it a good try. We'll do it as long as we have to, but the goal, of course, is to get back into the cave, put our hands down to the fire, and say, I thought that too. Look at that.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Katha Cato, Executive Director and Board President, Queens World Film Festival. My name is Donyshia Boston Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So Katha, I mean, that's your experience and just bringing the ability to bring a film festival to life is not only not a lot of work, but genius. And I know it really takes, a team. No woman or man is an island. And you said you have your other half, is behind the scenes, and as you are as well. But I read something on your website that I want you to elaborate on, please. It stated you believe in the restorative power in making art and experiencing art and reflecting on art, and you believe in in storytelling. You know, in these times, uh, those people out there that are listening, whether they are on the creative side and filmmakers or thinking about becoming a filmmaker, what advice would you give those people that are listening?
Well, feel what you feel. It's real. Drink water. It helps with just almost everything. And if you drink enough of it, it makes you get out of bed about every 2 hours. And then the rest of the time, art is the organization of chaos. How do I organize all of this stuff in such a way that when you look at it, you see what I see, and you might even get to feel what I feel and maybe imagine what I imagine. And so it's not about good or bad. If you ask a 4-year-old, can you sing? She'll, of course I can. You ask a 10-year-old, can I sing? Sometimes. You ask a 15-year-old, can they sing? No. You ask a 20-year-old, can you sing? And they'll say, no, not good. But I like to. So art is not to be judged. We've added dollar signs to it, and I understand that. Everything comes down to commerce at one point. But you don't have to worry about whether it's good or it's bad. When you look at it, do you feel it represents what is there? You'd be surprised how many people feel the same way. People ask me, the last 6 or 7 weeks, how are you doing? And I keep saying, is this the week where we're telling each other? Because if not, I'm fine. I'm fine. But if it is the week, I'm a little worried. I'm tired. I'd like to eat better. I miss some people. I miss some things.
Yeah, I think we're all doing what we can, and look, as you said, there are certain things that you can't replace with what we're doing now. I kind of refuse to accept this as a new normal. I really hate that term. I think this is just what we're doing until things get back to normal. So that said, I'm sure there's some misconceptions in your business and what you do. What's the biggest misconception about your work?
That someone's going to buy your film.
Hmm. You mean they don't just come and start,
They actually go door to door with no plan, and they just say, would you happen to have like a film that we can see? There's a lot of content out there, and you can screen it wonderful places. And if you're getting into the business, to make a lot of money, there up top, there's a lot of pebbles. There's a lot of little rocks going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But right below that, down to your next door neighbor, everybody needs to put their hand on the wall of the cave and say, I was here. Everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that. And some films are just that, and it's okay. And if you get into that first film and it's a nightmare, well, now you know why. A lot of people don't do them. They're hard to do. They're so hard to do. So many people all have to fit.
Is there any one handprint on the cave that's really struck you as, wow, that was something I've never seen, and that's something I don't think I'll ever see again?
Almost every film that we've made with the 5th or 6th graders, there's a moment in there I'm just like, the film that I think there's two films. One was in our festival. It's called Lonely Arrows. It's 30 seconds. People either love it or hate it. On opening night when we played it, somebody yelled out, "That ain't right." And other people have called it an absolute perfect film. And then the other film that I've been exposed to because of my husband is Paper Moon. It's just magnificently shot. It's unflinchingly of its time, unflinchingly of a genre. As uncomfortable as it is to watch some of it now, it's unapologetic. And you're nodding, Ray. Do you know the film? Both of you, the ending shot. Look at the ending shot with the car and this 9-year-old, and the journey is a long one, and you got to keep running. Got to keep running.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend that film, and I don't think we've spoiled it yet. I think people see it and they wouldn't until they see it. I think they wouldn't get it.
I have always wanted to have good bone structure. Sorry.
That was good.
Yeah.
How do people listening out there get involved in the film festival, during, the new times, or, how do they contact you, like even now?
Well, films are coming in. We've heard from, I believe, 19 nations since November 16th. There's, I believe, 76, 77 films in. You can always get me at kathacato@gmail.com. You can go to our website, queensworldfilmfestival.org. We're so excited because we're finally at .org. We were at .com for a long time. We made that website like 13 years ago, and it has been updated to a .org. I'm super proud of it. We're on all of the social media, and if you want to get involved, there's a way to reach out to us via internships. We have 4 interns working right now. You can donate. You can submit a film. If you go to the website and say submit a film, there's all sorts of different ways that different venues that you can go in to submit your film. And if you don't go to our festival, go to a festival and ask the filmmaker about their film, because they don't know how to talk about it. And they're so nervous and they want it to go so well. So walk up to them and say, "Tell me about your film." Oh, and don't worry, if you think it's a dumb question, that's why they're there. They want to talk to you about their work. And a lot of times at festivals, there's just so much going on that you don't have that. And that's really important for the development of the artist. Very important.
Wise words. And we need, like I said, we need them now more than ever. So if you don't mind, just give us one more time. Give us where to contact you, your website, and any other contact information you want to share.
Okay, queensworldfilmfestival.org. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Alignable, LinkedIn, and I'm sure a bunch of stuff that I signed up for that I have no idea where it is or what I'm doing. You can find us on filmfreeway.com. We are listed in the top 100 reviewed festivals. We're number 14. And that's all on filmmaker reviews from around the world. There's 7,000 festivals on there, and there's about 80,000 filmmakers on there. So we're very proud of that, and that reflects on Queens. That reflects on Queens, not just the Queens World Film Festival.
Queen strong.
You bet.
Well, thank you very much, Katha, for being with us. Thank you to Katha Cato, our Executive Director of the Queens World Film Festival. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I feel like a star. Thank you.
And you are.
Yes, you are, Katha, and thank you. I'm going to leave everyone with DB's philosophy today. You got a dream, you got to protect it. Chris Gardner, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, your co-hosts and producers. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available on iHeart, podcasts on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk with you next week.
Tower Talk Business Radio.